Guys, this is Mr. Joshy J, and this is your Formula 1 2020 Spa Grand Prix review. Yep, now I'm recording this much earlier than what I usually do because I haven't been to my grandparents this weekend. I watched it in my flat, the race, so I got a bit of extra time to record. So right, the race itself. At the start, everybody got away cleanly. The biggest disappointment now was Carlos Sainz in his McLaren. He had a turbo exhaust failure on the way to the grid for preparations. So unfortunately, that was him out of race even before it started. Which is rotten luck for Carlos Sainz. That really is. His teammate now, Lando Norris, had a good race. So the start and one got away cleanly. Leclerc moved up 4 places in the Scuderia Ferrari. But it was very short-lived because along the start-finish straights, it was just getting passed by the AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo. What a horrible weekend for the team I absolutely love and been following since the Michael Schumacher days, since the early 2000s. Devastating. But, Lewis Hamilton was out in the lead, things looking very comfortable for him. The big talking point now in the race was the incident between Antonio Giovinazzi and George Russell. On lap 8, Antonio Giovinazzi span and then George Russell ended up hitting his tyre. But thankfully, both of them are okay. And thank goodness for the halo because that gave George Russell big protection. I mean, you can criticise the halo all you like. You may not like it, but it's there for a reason, the halo. So, yep. Both drivers are okay, which is good. And at the restart, Hamilton absolutely nailed the restart. Left Bottas standing. Then Hamilton, a few moments later, come out on the radio saying loss of power. But Mercedes said, that's all okay, just the energy resetting itself. So, good news to Lewis Hamilton. He was all okay, and literally the whole race he had under control, start to finish. Hamilton was worried about his tyres again, but thankfully, no punctures this time. He looked at tyres afterwards and he said they actually still looked in okay condition, so probably he worried for nothing, but obviously what happened at Silverstone is hanging over Hamilton's mind. Bottas, again, nowhere near Lewis Hamilton. I mean, that's shocking for Valtteri Bottas. Max Verstappen could have finished ahead of Bottas, but he was struggling with tyres as well, Max Verstappen. Alex Albon finishes behind both in the works team Renaults. What a shocker for Alex Albon. That is poor by the second Red Bull driver. Nowhere near on the same level as his teammates. But just poor by Albon. Really got to up his game. Max Verstappen is the leader of Red Bull and Lewis Hamilton is the leader at Mercedes. Hamilton has admitted in his interview that he wishes he has more competition because it's not good at F1. But it's going to be interesting to see in Monza which teams will be affected the most because obviously they're doing away with this party mode, which obviously Mercedes have loved party mode in qualifying because that's where they get most of their power from. But now they're doing away with party mode. You can only use the same power in the race now as what you had in qualifying. So that's really going to be interesting to see if it spices things up a bit. But I don't think it will hurt Mercedes too much because that car is phenomenal. The way it handles, the speed, the grip. That Mercedes is an absolute monster. It really is. Pierre Gasly, the AlphaTauri, what a race he had. Unbelievable by Pierre Gasly, who's obviously very emotional this weekend because it's 12 months on since the tragic passing of Anton Herbert. In Formula 2, they have retired the number 19 car in their respects to Anton Herbert. Gasly, absolutely fantastic. Ricciardo and Ocon in the Renault P4 and P5. They are my star team in the weekend. Absolutely fantastic. Lando Norris in the McLaren P7. Only McLaren starting the race, and he had a very good race. I can't wait until Norris and Ricciardo are in the same team next season, because Norris was talking to Sky Sports F1, and Ricciardo came up to him, and Simon Lazenby went, social distancing, because it looked like Ricciardo wanted to hug Lando Norris. McLaren next year, that lineup is going to be brilliant. Norris and Ricciardo as teammates. But Carlos Sainz, you saw him shake his head how slow the Ferrari works team is, the car he is driving next year. I tell you what, he is in for a tough time next year, Carlos Sainz, in that red Ferrari. I mean, all these years following Ferrari, I have never experienced such a painful weekend like this. I mean, if you go onto my Twitter, most of my tweets this weekend have been about Ferrari. Ferrari dominating my Twitter feed by my tweets. Unbelievably. But, you know, that was the race done. As for the race itself, what a snooze fest. 1 out of 10. Awful Grand Prix. Absolutely dreadful. The worst race possibly this year. The only good time it was when I was overtaking with DRS, but apart from that, nothing. Of course, retirements were Antonio Giovinazzi, George Russell, and Carlos Sainz, who did not start. So right, let's get on to the driver ratings and team ratings. Yep. Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton, 10 out of 10. Again, perfect weekend. Had that race under control, start to finish. Valtteri Bottas, 5 out of 10. Another disappointing weekend for Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. I mean, he has to be closer to his teammate. That was poor by Valtteri Bottas this weekend. Red Bull, Max Verstappen, 9 out of 10. Very good weekend to him. Kept on pace with Bottas. Very unlucky not to finish ahead of Bottas, but suffering tyre problems just like Bottas was in the Mercedes. Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Alex Albon, 4 out of 10. I mean, just how much more patient are Red Bull going to be with Alex Albon? Surely now Red Bull's patience is wearing thin. Because look at Pierre Gasly, the AlphaTauri. In a moment, he's the one who deserves a second chance in the A team. He really does. Ferrari, Sebastian Vettel, 1 out of 10. No pace all weekend. Just dreadful by the Scuderia Ferrari for both drivers. Charles Leclerc, 1 out of 10. Again, no pace whatsoever. And it hurts me to give such a low score to the team I absolutely love. It really does. It's just so depressing. I would love for the FIA to come out and explain the situation, what settlement was agreed between Ferrari and the FIA behind closed doors, because how have they lost so much power? It's absolutely baffling. Really is. Renault, Daniel Ricciardo, 10 out of 10. Fantastic drive by him. P4 in the race. Esteban Ocon, 9 out of 10. P5. Brilliant. McLaren, Lando Norris, 8 out of 10. Only McLaren started the race, did a really, really good job. AlphaTauri, Pierre Gasly, 10 out of 10. To make his way back up the field when the safety car came out, because he couldn't come into the pits and change his tyres, the way he made his way back up the field was absolutely fantastic. Danny Kiat, 8 out of 10. Really good weekend to him. Passed Sebastian Vettel along the long straight, Eau Rouge. Brilliant by Danny Kiat. Racing Point, Sergio Perez, 5 out of 10. Really disappointing weekend for Racing Point for both their drivers. Lance Stroll, 5 out of 10. It was just a horrible weekend, as I said, for Racing Point. Alfa Romeo, Kimi Raikkonen, 5 out of 10. To finish ahead of both Ferrari Works Team cars, absolutely fantastic by Kimi Raikkonen. Yep, great result by him. Antonio Giovinazzi, I mean, you're going to have to give him a 2 out of 10, aren't you? Because he wasn't involved too much in the race, so yep, 2 out of 10 for Antonio Giovinazzi. Haas, Roman Grosjean, 4 out of 10. Did very well to keep the Ferrari Works Team car ahead for quite a long time. Kevin Magnussen, 4 out of 10. Decent followers. Decent results. It's because on my iPhone it said I got a new follower on Instagram, so I said decent followers. Decent performance by Kevin Magnussen this weekend, so fair play to him. Williams, George Russell, I mean, he was doing okay until he's taken out, so I'll give him 5 out of 10. And Nicholas Latifi, 2 out of 10. Really got to step it up, he has, Nicholas Latifi, under big pressure. Oh yeah, Carlos Sainz, I'll quickly give him a rating. 7 out of 10. Did well in qualifying, but unfortunately couldn't start the race. So right, on to team ratings. Mercedes, 10 out of 10. Again, perfect weekend. 105 points clear in the Constructors' Championship. That Constructors' battle is game over. Absolutely game over. Red Bull, 7 out of 10. Again, finished best of the rest of Mercedes, so well done to them. Ferrari, 1 out of 10. I mean, I really fear for them at Monza next weekend, because it's got even more straight corners. Really fear for all Ferrari powered teams next weekend. I really do. McLaren, 7 out of 10. Really good points by Lando Norris. Renault, 10 out of 10. They are my team at the weekend. To finish P4 and P5, things are looking really good for the Renault Works team. And that looks promising as well. I hope they carry on with it, because Fernando Alonso will be happy if Renault can keep this up. Of course, Alonso back in the Renault next year. Very excited by that. I really am. AlphaTauri, 8 out of 10. Really good weekend to them. Racing Point, 4 out of 10. Really struggled this weekend. Racing Point. Alfa Romeo, well, I'm going to give them a 5 out of 10 because Kimi Raikkonen, as I said before, finished ahead of Ferrari Works Team. Haas, 4 out of 10. Respectable score I'm going to give them. And Williams, well, really, you can only give them a 3 out of 10 because they weren't involved in the race too much. because obviously George Russell unfortunately crashed out. But that is the Belgium Grand Prix done. We move on to Monza, which is going to be one team who's going to be making the headlines, and that's the team in red, Scuderia Ferrari, the prancing horse. Well, it's not really prancing, it's asleep. Unbelievable. Just wow. Let me know your thoughts down below. And do you fear the Ferrari powered teams next weekend in Monza? Let me know down below. Bye bye.